So here we have another episode of Totally Detailed, and we have a gentleman on the line tonight called Dave Stafford from Car Doc Cornwall. Hi, Dave. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you are too.
Yeah. We're all good, thank you. Weather-wise, it's been terrible up here today. What's it been like down there?
Yeah, equally terrible. We had a storm pass through. I think it's on the way east at the moment. So
As long as it don't come northeast, we'll be all right.
back a bit.
Yeah. No, they seem to be getting quite frequent. We've had a few, I think it's tornadoes and things coming through quite close to us. There was a few miles away, there was a house got its roof and things ripped off. So
Oh, God,
it was literally only a few miles away. Literally the house, it was on the news and everything. It ripped off the roof of the house. I think it was a garage next door came off, smashed all the conservatory, imploded all the windows on the house, ripped all the roof off. And then there was another one. There was a camper tipped up and everything. So yeah, it's been quite bad.
wasn't the Midwest of America?
I know it is a bit like that. It's we've had these mini tornadoes coming through, and there was another one in Lincoln, just over the water. So it's been quite ripe for it at the moment. They keep giving all these warnings of tornadoes, and we do seem to keep getting them. So it's
Wow.
it's strange weather, though. I mean, it's like this morning. It's 6 o'clock. It was like I think 13 degrees, and then it went up to 16, 17, and then back down to 10 again. And then when we left work, it's like 16 degrees again, and get home and we're down to 8 degrees again. It's just
another symptom of 2020, 21.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very, very strange weather at the moment. So obviously, Car Doc, what do you do?
Well, I'm based down in Cornwall.
Yep.
Started in 2007. I was working in actually used to design conservatories. Did that for about 10 years, 12 years. And I had a Volvo estate, which needed some bodywork done on it. So I looked around. I'd heard about these guys that go around, come to your house and do the repairs.
Yeah.
I looked around to find somebody, couldn't find anybody. Eventually somebody gave me the name of a person doing it. I tried to contact them, never got a response. And it got me thinking, because I've always been quite handy, but my background is sales and marketing.
Yep.
And I started doing some research, and I spent about 3 months researching the smart repair industry. I didn't know it was called that when I started.
Yeah.
Looked at all the main players, the likes of Chips Away and Revive and so on, and got introduced to Smart Express down in Portsmouth. Or was it Southampton? I forget now.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's Southampton or Portsmouth either, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's, wherever it is, it's difficult to get to from here.
Yeah. Yep.
So they had a forum going, which I got introduced to, made up of smart repairers.
Yeah.
And I went on that forum, and the guys were just so helpful to get me started, point me in the right direction. And the right direction for me turned out to be getting my own training, buying my own van, kitting it out, and basically launching a business. And so that's what I did. And I started in November 2007. And coming from a sales and marketing background, I knew that nothing happens until somebody sells something.
Yep.
So my first objective was how to get my name out there. So my wife and I did it together. She helped me out. And she went to Asda in Penryn and persuaded the manager there to let us have 3 car parking spaces right next to the front door. And we had that for a weekend, and we put some money into their staff Christmas fund. And at that time, I had a Chevrolet Corvette.
Very nice.
My wife had a VW Beetle convertible.
Lovely.
I had my new van, and we parked them up there. That weekend, the ladies came to look at the Beetle because it was the same color as the one in the film Bewitched.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
The men came to look at the Corvette,
Yeah.
and everybody left with a card in their hand with all of my details on.
Excellent.
Not only that, people came up to me and said, well, I've got a bump on my car. Can you come and have a look at it? That first weekend, I wrote up £3,500 worth of business.
Excellent.
First weekend out.
Yeah.
So we then repeated the exercise. And during that time on Pirate FM, the local radio station, they were playing my advert.
Excellent.
So people were hearing the advert, coming into Asda, and then seeing us there.
Yeah.
So it all just worked out really, really well for us.
Perfectly, yeah.
And we did the B&Q and Tesco and Range, and we just went all over the place. And the thing was, it was the kickstart. And so from that point, then the work started to come in. And I've been very fortunate that in Cornwall, we do like to use local companies.
Yeah.
So if you do a good job, people tell their friends. And nowadays, I don't do any advertising. I haven't done for years. I'm very fortunate that people are finding me. We do have a website. We've got a Facebook page.
Yeah.
I've done a load of videos of repairs so that people can see exactly what I'm doing to their cars.
Yeah.
And that's been very popular.
Yeah. Videos seem to work really well. Do you have it on like a YouTube channel?
Sorry?
Do you have it on a YouTube channel?
Yeah, Car Doc Cornwall.
Yeah. So you got a YouTube channel as well. That's good.
Yeah, they're all there, and on the website, on the Facebook page. So, and very often people phone up and say, I just watched your video about blah, blah, blah. That's exactly the job I need done on my car.
Yeah.
And so the fact is that you've already sort of built the confidence in for the customer.
Yes.
In what you do.
Yeah.
But importantly, they see how long it takes.
Exactly.
Involved.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the justification for the price.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's amazing. There's a lot of people out there charging, and in my opinion, there's a lot of people out there with a cutthroat price for what they do. In every industry that you're in, unfortunately, no matter what it is, whether it's smart repairs, leather, or car detailing, or whatever it is, there's always somebody out there that will do it cheaper, but there's obviously a reason why they will.
Well, this is my biggest bugbear, I think, and I've had so many discussions with people about this. The part of it is fear.
Yep.
The fear of asking for the money you actually want, and the potential rejection. But the problem is that when people start off at low prices, it's very, very difficult to change that and move the price upwards.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very difficult.
Yep.
And the thing is, if you start with a price that you feel is reasonable and is going to actually give you a profit, you always have the ability to discount it down if you really have to get that business.
Yeah, of course you do.
Start off low.
Yep.
Well, it's sending out entirely the wrong signals.
Yep.
And secondly, where are you going to go if they say no?
Yes. Yep.
So it's just, as I say, it's one of my bugbears. And I've tried, when I've seen new people set up in the area, I make a habit of contacting them and say, come and have a chat.
Yes.
And I do my best to steer them in the right direction, because the last couple I've seen have been really, really unbelievably cheap in the prices.
And they'll probably think, why is he doing that? And
Well,
I think there's something sinister to it. And I mean, we do that with people, and there's nothing wrong with trying to help people, because at the end of the day, I mean, there's plenty of room for everybody in the market. There's always cars, there's always leather, there's always chips, there's always dents, there's scuffs, there's scrapes. It's happening all the time. Nobody can do everything, and and if you can just help somebody, you might just, that one day, you might just need a favor and they come and help you. Do you know what I mean? And just trying to steer them in the right direction, it helps the whole industry, because if they're going to go into the industry and try to do things cheap, then it looks bad on you, because people will be then saying, why is he so expensive and why are you so cheap? Then they start thinking, who do we believe? So you get that problem of doubt on the customer's mind of, do we trust Dave or do we trust Joe down the road or whatever, and they just don't know who then to begin to trust, because of the prices are so varied.
No, I agree. It is a problem, and this trust thing is important. And this is one of the issues, is that so many people get into the business. I've seen it particularly with servicemen who've left the forces.
Yes.
And they've got a franchise, and what their focus tends to be is learning how to do the job. It's not how to sell the job.
Yep.
And when you see the tragic number of people who've failed, I've seen it in Cornwall multiple times.
Yeah.
Franchises have failed. And I feel for these people because they've lost a huge amount of money.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
But I don't know the reasons for all the failures. I know some of them, but I don't know them all. But one of the problems I think in the industry is that people don't know how to sell what they've got.
Yeah, yeah.
And they think the only thing that you've got is price.
Yes. Yep. No.
That's the thing that comes at the end.
Yep.
The process.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And, when I was in the computer industry for 25 years, and that was a cutthroat business. But I was dealing in corporate companies, big corporations. You don't go in there trying to just buy the business with the lowest price.
Yes.
Because they are looking for all of the add-ons, the support,
the
training, the various things that go with it. And that was a very good lesson. And it does apply in our industry when people, when you're going to a customer with possibly the second largest purchase they've made in their lives.
Exactly.
You have to build the confidence with them that you're not going to ruin that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're adding value to it. You're not taking away something from it.
Yeah, exactly.
And the selling of that idea is really important. And I don't think the franchises focus on that.
No, no.
And for people who've, like the guys who leave, they've been working in body shops for years and they decide to go out on their own. Very commendable. Yeah, yeah. But do it from a business perspective, not because you can paint a car.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
You've got to create a business plan. You have to understand where you're going, how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
And it's so many failures, I think, are because people don't know how to sell what it is they're offering.
Yeah, I had a discussion. I call it a discussion with a guy on Facebook to do with I think it was trimming of a boat interior, and he wanted to know what the average cost was. So I said, well, what's the average size boat? Well, the average size. Well, what is an average size boat? Because what might be an average size to you is a different average size to me, and it could be a different average size to the guy down the road that's worth 10 million.
Yeah.
You know, an average size to him is totally different to what I can afford, and what I can afford is maybe different to what you can afford. You know, so. And he's like, I just want to know what the average cost is to trim a seat. I said, well, how big is the seat? Is it this big, this big, this big? You know, how big is it? And he just kept going on about, I just want to know the average price. And I'm like, well, how do you value your time? Do you have a shop? You know, do you have a repair shop? Are you mobile? You know, what about your insurance? Do you have employees? You know, tax for your van. Have you got a van and a shop? You know, all these things have to be taken into consideration. Have you got to buy machinery? Have you already got it? Is it on lease? Do you own it? Or if you've got to buy it, got to take that into consideration about amortizing it over a period of time to write that machinery off and stuff, because it will want replacing, it will want servicing. You've got fuel to get to and from jobs. And he's like, I just want to know how much the average price is. And I'm like, until you can come up with that business plan, you're not going to be able to get an average price. And that's exactly what you've just said there, basically, with the guys with the smart repair. They don't realize there's so many things, you know, when you're starting out, you've got to do a lot of advertising to get established. You know, you went out, you did it a totally different way, which was obviously going out. Yes, you had to pay something, but going out to the car parks. I've seen many guys in smart repairs doing that. But again, people don't realize there's so much involved. You can't just suddenly pick up a sewing machine and suddenly sew a seat together for a boat and say that's 500 quid, because it might only be 300 pound, you know. But that is the thing, is it depends what they value their time at. If they have all these different overheads and say mine's 50 pound an hour, they might have much bigger overheads and need 60 pound an hour. So that would mean their price is going to be different to my price. But that again is where they market themselves to that market, and they talk the talk for that price bracket, you know, to make sure they get that selling process right and they sell the service, you know. And that's what they've got to do, is build the confidence with the customer. And like you say, the price is the last thing that the customer wants to hear about. Yes, they want to know about it, but if you've sold yourself to them and the services, they don't really care about price.
Exactly. And that's why I say price is the last thing on the list.
Yep.
Because if they haven't believed you, you haven't instilled any kind of trust.
No.
Or they don't know your work. I mean, I've got videos so people can see my work, and I'll direct them to those.
Yeah.
If you haven't ticked a number of boxes in the first place, then it doesn't matter what the price is, because the customer isn't sold.
No, exactly.
And, also, the other thing, the guys that go out and go only on price, which obviously is low.
Yep.
They tend to forget. People get suspicious about that as well.
Yeah.
You know, why is it so cheap? You know, what kind of job am I going to get?
Yeah, exactly.
Another guy said it was £60 a wheel. This bloke's saying 25.
Yep.
How can there be such a difference?
Yeah. Yeah, we get that with our industry, with the leather. And I mean, people will say to me, you know, can you come out and do this today? It's impossible. We've got an 8-week waiting list.
Yeah.
Well, I've just spoke to one guy and he said he can be out here today. Well, how much did he quote you? Well, he quoted me 45. We wouldn't actually do that for less than 250, to be quite honest. And then you get all this abuse. It's like, why the hell are you so expensive? And why the hell can't you come and do it today? And it's like, first of all, the materials are going to probably cost me £45 to do the job. And if you can get somebody to come out to you today, I'd be quite concerned for something that is an extremely skilled job, just like yours is. I'd be very concerned if somebody said, I can come to you today. It might be on the off chance that, yes, they've just had a massive cancellation and they can go and do it. And it could be fluke that you've rung them. But I find that probably highly impossible to be happening, you know. And I would be extremely concerned, for one, that they're doing it so cheap, and also be extremely concerned they can come to you today and do it.
Yeah.
It's
sometimes people are just they have, because they've got no idea of how the market works.
Yep.
They might think £25 a wheel is cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, you know, doing a bumper corner for £60 is expensive.
Yes.
Now, I review price all the time.
Yep.
And only ever goes one direction.
Yep.
My costs go up.
Of course they do. Yep.
And recently, I think we've all seen price rises in all sorts of areas.
Yeah.
I mean, just a thing like, I ordered some gloves today, £15.50 for a box of gloves that I used to pay £7.50 for.
Yeah, exactly. Only about 18 months ago as well. Yeah.
You know, it's just insane.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's profiteering. I know there are shortages, but I can't help feeling that these prices are not going to be going back down again, even when supplies come back.
Yeah, exactly. It's little things like that that I'm sort of sat carefully watching and thinking, if they don't come back down, we can force them to come back down, because I'll just buy a container full and bring them into the country like everybody else and sell them at the price they should be sold at. And everybody will have to follow suit. You know, it's like, I mean, people complain to us about our leather cleaner. It's one of the best leather cleaners there is in the world. And I was actually looking at an invoice two or 3 days ago from 2011. I found an old dongle thing where we used to back up everything. And I was looking at it. I was looking at this company's invoice from 2011, and it was £43 for a gallon of leather cleaner. And today we're 2021 and it's 46. So we've not actually increased our prices that much. And I know the cost of the raw materials have gone up far higher than what we've actually increased our prices. So it's again, you know, we try to be very fair with our pricing. And I think some of the people at the moment with pricing, especially with COVID, they're using it as an excuse to just whap prices up. And we were watching gloves, a single pair of gloves, a left and a right glove, selling on eBay, a black or a blue or whatever they are, £5, and people were paying £5 for these gloves on eBay. They must have been either very thick or extremely desperate, and people were paying that money for them. And I just can't believe people would be so stupid to pay that amount of money for them.
It's taken advantage of the people who are ignorant of the price of things like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
We buy boxes of 100, you know, 50 pairs.
Yep.
Most people, if they went out to buy gloves, they go down to Asda and buy a pack of 5.
Yeah.
Probably costs £3 or £4, I don't know. Because it's not something they do every day.
Exactly. Yep.
There are probably things that I've been buying that I could have got a lot cheaper if I'd been a bit more knowledgeable.
Yeah. It's just taking the time to research, and it's just, I mean, we just held off and got cheap versions of gloves for in-house use, you know, and it's just, And that's what we put up with, rather than getting our standard black or whatever. We just we've got some really cheap ones and did it that way, and just shopped around.
Yeah.
And even still, I mean, some of the cheap gloves that you could get previously that were maybe a couple of pound a pack for a box of 100, you know, we were still paying £7 and £8 and £10 for them.
Yeah.
Even for the really cheap ones, you know, it's just,
No, it's insane.
it's been insane. I mean, I just can't believe that. I mean, because in China, the way things work, I mean, they don't let people out of the factories anyway until a weekend. You basically live, you know, how a lot of the factories work in China. You basically go there, live in the factory, in the little villages in the factory all week, and you're not allowed out until a Saturday. And then you go home for Saturday and Sunday, see your kids or parents, and then come back again on Monday morning and start work again. And you're back out again Friday night. But during COVID, they didn't let anybody home. There was one girl I was talking to, she wasn't allowed home. I think it was she hadn't seen a newborn baby or her parents for 9 months.
Oh no.
Yeah. And she said, you know, we fear for our life, because if we try to leave, they'll kill us.
Oh my God.
So it's, you know, it's a terrible situation to be put in. But I mean, and again, they haven't really increased the prices out there. And it's just people, unfortunately, just getting a very, how can I call it? A very vulnerable situation and exploiting that vulnerable situation, I think, really.
Well, I think one thing that's going to hit us in the not too distant future is the massive increase in transportation costs.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I brought some goods in from China. It cost me $2,000 for a 20-foot container.
Yeah.
I was recently looking at some products, and a 40-foot container, $17,000.
I was going to say, I'm paying nearly $2,000 for 40 cartons, let alone a 20-foot container. So yeah, it's horrendous prices. And
they are going to be reflected, you know, once people run out of stock that they've already got.
Yep.
And we get the new stock in at those new prices. We're going to see price rises for Chinese goods for sure.
Yeah, it's getting to the point now, I think, with a lot of Chinese goods. I mean, there's only one or two things we buy from China. Now we get everything from England. Well, we have done for years, but there's these one or two things that I wish we could get made in this country. But it's getting to the point where it makes it almost non-viable getting them made in China, because it's getting too expensive.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they're doing themselves an injustice by putting things up and up and up.
Well, you know what? I think the transportation thing is out of their control, though.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a worldwide thing.
Yes.
And
everything's gone crazy. I mean, from before lockdown, we were maybe sending over, I think it would say 40 cartons that are maybe 3 foot square. So they're quite big, reasonably heavy, because it's all sort of like cloth material in them. So they're quite heavy and, you know, and dense. And I think for those 40 cartons, we were maybe spending about $400 or $500 to ship them before lockdown. Now the same things is about $4,000.
Oh,
it's literally gone through the roof. We've even done various things where we've actually had things shipped by train from China, or by train all the way through and into Poland. And then from Poland, they get picked up by DHL or something like that, or UPS. They then get flown to somewhere else in Europe. And then they get train again somewhere else, and then boat into England. And that way we've managed to get it about $1,000 cheaper, but it takes about 5 or 6 weeks longer. So it takes a lot longer, but it's such a rigmarole to try to organize it. It's unbelievable, but the prices have just skyrocketed for the things.
Yeah, I don't understand what's behind such massive rises.
No,
like you can't get containers to buy.
No,
they aren't available.
No.
So and when you consider that if there's been a downturn in the market, why would the transportation costs go up? Because it can't be the volume of goods.
No.
It's all a mystery. I'm happy I'm in Cornwall.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
God's own country down here.
That's it. Yeah. So obviously you keep very busy with all the smart repairs. What sort of things do you get involved with it then? Is it just paint, or do you do dents, or?
I do PDR, but because I do paint as well, I very often give the customer an option on paintless dent removal, because I'm not going to spend hours and hours doing PDR.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense because I can do it quicker painting.
Yeah.
So if I've got if it's a simple dent, then it's just PDR. But occasionally I get jobs where the dents are more complex.
Yeah.
With more difficult to get access to and so on. And so I'll give the customer an option. I'll say, look, I can improve the dent with a reasonable amount of time, and it will cost you X. Or I can give you 100% results, which will be painting and filling and painting.
Yep.
And so I leave it up to the customer.
Yeah.
For me, I look at a dent and say, oh dear, that's that's good. Maybe that's 85, 90%.
Yeah.
The customer looks and says, I can't believe you could do that. How on earth do you do that? But it's different points of view.
Yeah.
And so in cases like that, I leave it to the customer.
Yeah.
Other times I won't offer the option because I know that it's either the dent won't be fully successful. Maybe the paint's already cracked, or it's in a really awkward place. And then I'll just go straight for the painting option. So most of my work is paint.
Yeah.
But what I've done, I'm now 68 years old, and I've got to think about slowing down a little
68.
bit. And so I am, and I'm now taking alternate Fridays off.
Yeah.
And next year I'm going to go down to a 4-day week.
Okay.
The thing is, I love my job.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying. When you hand the car over to back to the customer, and they're just completely knocked out.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Done a good job for them.
Yep.
And I can't imagine not being able to do a job that gives me that.
Yeah.
And but I do recognize that I need to also take care of myself.
Yep.
Fortunately, I'm healthy and fit.
Good.
So I feel like I can go on. I still feel like I'm 22 years old, which sadly is a long time ago. But what I'm doing now is I'm tending to steer away from the bigger jobs that I would have done. I've never done anything structural. I have no interest in doing that.
Yep.
I do have the equipment to do more serious dent repair, automatic welders and so on.
Yep.
But what I'm looking at now is not cherry picking so much. I'm just not taking on the bigger jobs that I would have done a couple of years ago.
Yep. Yeah.
I'd rather hand them over to one of the local repairers who's better equipped, got more staff.
Yep.
Just me. I'm Car Doc.
Yep.
And so, which actually is a selling point, strangely, compared to going to one of the big repairers.
Yeah.
I say to the customers, look, when your car arrives, I get cracking on that job, and I see it through to the end.
Yep.
So I'm dedicated to your car until it's finished.
Yes.
And that's why I can do it in a day or maybe day and a half.
Yep.
And they like that. And that's the essence of the business. Although I'm unit based now,
Yep.
I've got this massive spray booth, which I invested in 2 years ago. It's still smart repair. It's work done quickly and keeping it as small as possible without having to involve too many panels being painted.
Yeah. How far do you go with the painting?
Well, like the job that I did today, it was a van, 2 large panels on a van, and I'll go to 3. I'll do a side of a car.
Yep.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Full bonnets, front end, but I try not to nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it a little more simple.
Yeah, smaller repairs and turn around.
Rushing around like a maniac all the time.
Yeah, we get it obviously with doing detailing work as well as obviously the leather, but when we're doing detailing work on cars, people are always like, can you get that dent out for us? And we obviously don't do it, but we've got a local guy that does, and they don't realize, and even we've said to them, it's, the paint is cracked, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And again, that's all down to the education side of it, and that's where sometimes videos can help. And having like maybe video explainers saying, if this is what the dent is like now, this can't be taken out. It's got to be a paint job. we can get the dent out, but it's because the paint's cracked. It's got to be painted because the water's going to get behind it when it rains, you know? And sometimes people don't, and they'll always say, but I've seen it on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
I've seen it on YouTube, you can get this out. And it's like, no.
Involve popcorn.
Yeah, and it's like, did you see the? I mean, we get it with our business, and people who, I can't remember what it is they're using. They use like peanut butter to clean leather, and it's like you know you must be absolutely bananas. And then there was one where they were filling holes and they were stuffing, I think it was something like Weetabix into the holes,
Yeah.
and then putting a bit of filler over the top of it and stuff like that. And it's like, and people are, it's absolutely amazing. The hole just disappeared, and I'm like, but it's going to rot and it's going to smell. And they just don't see that, and they're like, yeah, but the hole's gone. I'm like, but it's going to rot in a few years and it's going to drop out, you know.
Some of these things start off as a joke and get out of hand.
And it's just, and some of these people, they're just like so mesmerized with it. And I'm like, do you not realize that that is going to rot and it's going to stink? And they're like, yeah, but I can't believe you got rid of the hole. I'm like,
people come in and, well, a common thing is for dent removal, are you going to suck it out?
Yeah.
So I said, well, to be honest, there's very little sucking involved.
Yeah.
It's more like pushing.
Yes.
And I explain to them how you're getting behind the panel or glue pulling processes.
Yes. Yeah.
But the one about bumpers and hot water, you know, getting dents out of bumpers with hot water.
Yeah.
There's plenty of YouTube videos around, and I've had people come in and say, well, I tried that, but look at it, it's still all bumpy.
Yeah.
What you don't see in the YouTube video, that's the bit that you
that's the bit that you don't see. Yeah. That's what we always say to them. It's the bit we always try with our videos. We always try to make them realistic, because that's how the person at home is going to be doing it. So if we make a mistake in there, we then make a mistake and we correct it, and we don't edit those bits out. We just try to keep them as original. It's very rare we sort of do any editing with any of our videos. A lot of our videos we do completely live anyway, because we've got nothing to hide with what we're doing. So we do them completely live on Facebook or whatever. And it's just, they're exactly as they are, you know, and there is no jiggery pokery with what we do. We can achieve what I believe to be miracles, and what everybody else has said to me, you know, Christ, that's an absolute miracle what you've done.
Yeah.
You know, and then other people come along and they say, how the hell did they do that? And I'm like, well, that's the part that you didn't see, the bit in the middle, which is the very, very difficult part they didn't show you. And they do, other companies, they'll cut bits out and cut bits in. And it's like, why do you do it? Just show them the whole process, you know, show them how it's done.
When I first started doing videos, the comments were made about, well, aren't you giving away secrets?
Yep. That's what people said.
How to do it. And I actually took the opposite view. Look, I can actually show a customer what's involved. This is why I charge what I charge, because that's what's involved in actually doing the job. Look at the number of materials I've used, the time that's spent.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you learn to do something like this? You know, it's all time invested.
Yep.
And to me, it is a selling tool. If you show people exactly what you do.
Exactly. Yep. And that's exactly what we said. People said to us the same thing. You know, are you not giving all your secrets away? And I'm like, it's pointless having them with me in the grave when I'm dead.
Yeah.
So I might as well share my secrets with people, because there's younger people than me. I'm 53. There's people a lot younger than me that are coming into the industry. Let them follow it through, you know?
Well, I mean, if you follow that logic, if you needed to do new plumbing in your house, you just look on YouTube and do it yourself. Yeah. People don't want to do it themselves.
No, they don't. If I ended up doing plumbing, I'd end up with water through my electrics, I can tell you. Two things I can't stand is plumbing and electricity. I've never done it. And I always get, you know, it's just, it's not my thing. You know, my thing's leather and detailing cars, and that's what I enjoy doing. And I love my business, and, you know, it's great. You know, we enjoy it. And like with the podcasting, you know, we do this. It's, you know, we've invested money in this equipment just to help people, to get them recognition and to meet and talk to people around the world. And that's what we do. We love it and we enjoy doing it, you know, and that's what it's all about. And it's good.
I think spreading the word is more important than trying to keep things to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because everybody benefits. And as you said earlier, you know, there's plenty of business for everyone. I've never ever been frightened of competition.
No.
Because every competitor is opening the market for me.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And if they don't get the job, maybe I will.
Yeah.
Or if I don't get a job, maybe they will. But it's, you know, in the end, it all evens out. If
Yeah.
you do a good job for your customers, they'll come back and they'll tell their friends.
Yep.
But the fact is, you can't reach everybody all
No.
the time.
No.
So, you know, you just have to accept that and do the best you can with what you've got.
Yeah. We get it with people when we've trained them, obviously, because we do the training courses and things, and they're always like, I don't want to charge as much as what you guys are charging. So I've got to charge a lot less. And I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Why would you do that? Because you're going to create a rut that you can't get out of, because you're going to find it very, very difficult to start increasing your prices, because those customers that you've got, when you do increase your prices, you're going to lose them, because they're going to be like, you're now a rip-off, when you're not a rip-off, because that should have been, is what you should have been charging in the first place. And that again comes down to what we were talking about at the beginning, is people being very nervous about what they're charging, you know, and they're frightened to say that's £150, you know, and they're so frightened about it, and they're so nervous about that. And there's nothing wrong with asking for your money, you know, and what you're due. And people just get, I don't know, they get stuck in a rut with it, and it's just they become very frightened and scared
because they've never been told how to do it.
No.
Getting some sales training, and there's probably dozens of YouTube videos.
Yep.
On how to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
Time better invested at the early stages.
Yep.
Than learning how to do the job.
Yeah.
Because if you can't sell the job, then you haven't got a job.
No, exactly.
The other thing is a basic understanding of business economics. Because another very common thing that I've seen is, oh, well, look, you know, I did 2 jobs today. I've made 200 quid. No, you haven't made 200 quid. You got 200 quid from what you've got to take all your expenses, your van costs, your consumable costs, blah, 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 put money aside for tax. Do they do that? And one of the things, a very common thing I always raise is, you've got a van today, that van is not going to last forever.
No.
What provision are you making for replacement of that vehicle? Are you putting money away every month towards the next vehicle? No, people don't.
No, they don't.
So when you add up all of those factors, that £200 has turned to about £25.
Yep. Exactly.
So, and this is where people come unstuck, and they do the business for a year and crash and burn.
Yep.
And also, I'm very fussy about knowing where I am. I use an accounts program, QuickBooks, because
very good program.
my accountant recommended it.
Yeah.
Every day, I'm on top of my accounts.
Yep.
At a click of a button, I can see exactly where I am, profit and loss, balance sheet, all that information's out in front of me. So I understand that information. And this is what I was saying about business economics. If you can understand the ins and outs of a business, if you're actually making money or not, from that, you can set your prices. Because if you're out 8 hours a day, you can find out what your hourly rate needs to be.
Exactly.
You fed, keep the roof over your head.
Yeah.
And if you did that, you'd find that those bumper corners you're doing for 60 quid, no longer viable.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're doing 10 a day. But then my argument is, well, if you're doing 10 a day, you're working very, very hard.
Yeah, or you're cutting corners.
Where £600 a day, I can get that in 1 job or 2 jobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's all about selling that your expertise. And some of these guys are brilliant. You know, they're geniuses at what they do. And they're completely underselling their skills. And I just find that really disappointing and a bit sad. They don't understand their own worth.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I, you know, have you heard of the IDA, International Detailers Association?
No, I have now.
It's an American system that what they're trying to do, that they've come into the UK and they're going into every country around the world. And it's called the International Detailers Association. They're one of the main sort of sponsors, I think, of MTE in Florida. And it's obviously for vehicle detailers, but they have also things in there that guys that are like PDR guys, boat detailing, vehicle detailers. There's leather, that, you know, there's anything and everything you can think of. And what they're trying to do is to get it so that the IDA, because again, it's the same with the smart repair business. You know, we get it in our business in the leather side, and we also get it in the detailing side. where you'll get everybody saying, I'm a detailer, and they're not really a detailer. They may be a car washer or a car wash or a hand car wash. They're not a detailer. And they'll stick a nice big sign up, professional detailers now open, and they'll get a bucket and a sponge and they'll wash your Ferrari and scratch the hell out of it. So what the IDA is trying to do is, which is what this is here. This is the IDA here. Yeah. And I'm a IDA member and I'm a CD, which is certified detailer. And you get other guys, which are SVs, which is skills validated. And then you go up to be RTs, which is registered trainer. I think it's a recognized trainer, so on and so forth. And what they're trying to do and establish is to become an organization where they're recognized by the government, a bit like Gas Safe. So that when you call somebody and you say, I'm IDA, that customer has taken away all that doubt immediately. Straight away, that doubt has been taken away. It's a good thing to be a member of. It's not horrendously expensive either. It's not something that I would join to get business from. It's something I would join so that you can help people and people will help you as well. And that way you will gain business from it because they will help you. They'll recommend you. And in time, that gets you business. So we are, we're obviously a manufacturer supplier member as well as a detailing member as well. And it works very well. So it gets us recognized throughout the world, and you get like a forum you can log on to and, you post on the forum and it's really good. You got closed groups. They have every month, they have like a video call where we talk on Zoom like this. And there's maybe 10, 20 or 30 people on it. And you're listening to all sorts of people all over the country, wow. About various things. And it's really good as the idea. It's worth looking at because it's at the moment, because the dollar's quite good in our favor to the pound. I think it only works out at about £90 or £110 or something like that to join for a year. So it's actually quite affordable, to be fair. And it's certainly worth looking at for anybody that's involved in anything to do with vehicles, in all fairness.
Yeah, I joined when I started, the VBRA was in existence.
Yeah, I've been a member, yeah.
And I was very keen to get them to recognize smart repairers.
Yes.
Because they didn't really have any offerings. It was all about body shops for them. And they didn't really have any offerings of their support for smart repairers.
No, they didn't.
And I had meetings with the chief executive. They came to visit me in Cornwall as well.
Yep.
And it went nowhere because one of the problems in the industry, I feel, is a lack of innovation.
Yes.
They were very sort of set in their ways. The VBRA's gone now. It's been absorbed into something else. Can't think what it is. Because I actually thought it was a really good idea because it offered a guarantee for the customer.
Yeah.
They used to do surveys. You sent in survey cards and you got rated. It was quite effective.
Yep.
It wasn't really tuned very well for smart repairers.
Yes. Yeah.
And I suppose any kind of organization, I don't know if there's anything already existing for PDR techs, for example. I've no idea. Most likely, if there is, it's going to be originating in America.
In America, yeah.
The part of the difficulty is getting people to sign up for it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was the problem with the VBRA. I was trying to encourage the Smart Repair Forum members to join the VBRA so that we had a voice, basically.
Yeah.
But it was very hard getting people motivated to do it.
Yeah.
And also, frankly, it was the money.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was paying it. It was about £400 a year.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, we were a member of it for a year or two, and it wasn't very cheap at all. And we were a member of it for the leather side of it, which they still didn't really recognise. And I think we were about the only leather company on board with.
Well, that was the problem. You were in the trade.
Yeah,
you weren't.
Yeah, exactly. And it's they took your money, but yeah, it was it's a shame because I mean, again, it's like there's so many things not governed in this country like there is in other countries around the world. And in America, for argument's sake, people recognize PDR guys, they recognize the skill, they recognize detailers. But in this country, people don't really get that because, again, I don't know whether it's just down to publicity, or whether it's just ignorance, or again, it's whether people just can't be asked. It's like getting guys to come on board with forums and getting them involved with it. And it's the same with anything. You know, starting a business, you've got to promote that business to get known. And as a saying, I think it is, I got to get it right, or else I look like an idiot. I'll probably get it wrong anyway, so I don't care. It's a bit like a marketing saying, you know, the lights are turned off and you're kissing a girl in the dark. Unless she knows who it is that's kissing her, she ain't gonna have a clue what's going on. So, you know, if you're going to start a business without marketing, who's going to know you're in existence if you don't tell everybody you're there?
Yeah.
You know, same sort of principle. And it's, and starting the business, people have got to know you're there. You've got to promote yourself. You've got to get that going. And it's the same with anything. You've got to get out there and tell people. We've had it so many times with people where they come to us and they're, oh, I've been doing the leather repairs for a year now, and I've only had a few jobs coming through. Well, we did tell you to tag us in a post. And if you tag us in a post, we'll share you to every platform that we've got. And we've got hundreds of thousands of people across platforms that we can share you to. Yeah, I know, just can't be asked. Okay. So where's your Facebook page? I was going to start one, but I couldn't be bothered. So who have you told you did leather repairs? Well, I told my mum and dad and a couple of my friends, and that's about it, really. So where have you advertised? Well, I haven't. So how did people know you did it? I suppose they didn't really, but I thought they'd at least found out. But how do you find out if you don't tell them?
Part of the problem, though, is that, and it's not just our industry, it's everywhere. People thinking they've got a good idea for a business or want to get into business, but they don't produce a business plan.
No, exactly. Yep.
And, you know, a business plan, part of that is the marketing aspect, how you're going to get your name out there.
Yep.
And there's plenty of help to get it. You know, the business bureaus, I forgot what it was when I started. I consulted them because I just thought, well, you know, I don't know everything. Maybe there's things that they can help me with and give me guidance about.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't avail themselves of these benefits, and most of them are free as well.
And yeah, they are free. And I think a lot of the time, I think people think they're better than what they really are. And that's not being rude to everybody out there, but I think people are just, I think it's more of a macho thing. It's like, I can do this, I don't need help. When the only stupid question is not asking the question and going for help. That's the stupidity side of it. And I've always said to everybody, it's like with our private help groups that we have, not asking the question is the stupid question, because no question is stupid, because we're all here to help each other. I learn every day, and I learn from some of my technicians that I've trained. Only 6 months ago, I might learn something from them. They might mention something on a post, and I'm thinking, do you know what? That's actually quite a smart idea. And I might learn something from these guys, and they learn something from me. And it's all about that learning process, and not asking those questions and being frightened to ask people for help. That is a lot of people's downfall, you know, and most people will help you quite willingly if you just ask them.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so much help out there for people these days, and people still won't go to get that help because they think they know how to do marketing. They think they know how to get their business going, and they actually don't.
Yeah, but it's, well, for example, a lot of the guys getting into mobile repairs are coming out of jobs where they've been working in working spray booths.
Yeah.
And so that now they're into an environment that is quite hostile.
Yes.
I mean, very hostile.
Yeah.
In fact, it's what ultimately drove me into getting a unit.
Yeah.
Was the weather beat me.
Yeah.
And until you understand that that's an issue, and there are things you can do to help counteract it, like not take on big jobs.
Yep.
Keeping your outdoor smart repair small.
Yep.
For a reason.
Yep.
It used to be no bigger than an A4 sheet of paper.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, there's a reason for that, and that's something you find out with research.
Yes.
As I said at the beginning, I spent 3 months researching it because I knew nothing at all.
Yep.
I've never painted a car in my life, never picked up a spray gun in my life.
Mm.
I just knew I could do it, but I didn't know until I actually went on the training.
Yes.
I didn't know how to do it. But my focus was selling it, was the marketing.
Where did you get your training?
Smart Express.
Oh, right. Okay. Yep. Down in Portsmouth or Southampton, wherever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have, I must have been insane at the time, to be honest,
Yeah.
because I did 1 week of training and I came home and I did a repair on a friend's car, a couple of friends' cars and then my own car, made a horrible mess of it, went back for another week of training. So I could tell them the things I didn't know and how to do it. In a way, it was it worked for me.
Yep.
Because I then found out what I didn't know.
Sure.
And one of the things that in this trade is that you have to problem solve all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it's probably one of the businesses where more things can go wrong in your 1 day of operation than you ever imagine. Every stage of the process, loads of potential for things to go wrong.
Especially
and knowing how to get out of it once it's gone wrong or avoid it in the first place, even better.
Yeah.
That's the key to success.
Yeah, definitely.
And so there is not a painter out there who's not ended up with an avalanche of runs down the job. You know, and that when you're spraying the lacquer, that's the last bit of the operation, the last big bit of the operation. And when you make a mess of that, you're right back to square one again.
Yeah.
And we've all done it. And if you haven't done it, you're lying.
Yeah.
We've all done it.
Yep.
And these are the things that you wouldn't anticipate when you start.
Exactly. Yep.
You don't know about that and how to get out of it, how to avoid it. So it's all, even now, you know, after now 14 years in it, 15 years, I still learn all the time. I do look at YouTube, I do look at Facebook, I see what people in the trade are saying, what they're doing, what they're recommending. If there's something that they recommend and I haven't heard of it before, I'll always have a look. Yeah. Find out whether it's something that works for me. And I think keeping an open mind helps in this trade. As you said earlier, you know, you do learn things even from people that you've recently trained. You can pick up. Yeah, it's amazing what you pick up every day, to be fair. We don't know everything. And that's one of the reasons I love the job, to be honest. Yeah, very different. It's like a box of surprises every day. Oh yeah, definitely. You never know surprises. Quite what's going to happen. Yeah, talking about surprises, guitars. What's all the guitars? Oh well, I'm a musician. I mean, right, okay. I'm actually a musician who feeds himself by painting cars. Yeah. I've been a musician since I was a kid. Hang on a second. Let me just lift this up. Oh my God. Very fortunate that I've got my own studio. Oh my God, wow. And I've decorated the back wall with a number of guitars. Oh my Lord, wow. Ridiculous amount. But I play keyboards as well. So this is my keyboard setup. All right, okay, cool. There as well. Yeah. I've got a beautiful old Victorian piano. Oh, piano, they're beautiful. And drum kits, loads of amplifiers of all sorts. Basically, I rent the studio out for rehearsals for bands. Yeah. I rehearse here because I'm in a band. Yeah. And I rent it out so other people can take advantage of the space. So no busking on a Sunday? Sorry? No busking on a Sunday in the town? I still play. I'm in a band, and COVID, of course. Yeah. But everything just stopped. Yeah. And it's beginning to pick up again now. So we've got bookings. Sandstorm is the name of the band. Sandstorm, yeah. We put videos on Facebook. All right, okay. But I love guitars. So it's my first instrument. And there's a few more over there that are on the wall. Yeah. They just don't get played, unfortunately. Hey. Not often enough. Yeah. Strings go rusty eventually. But there's a good business for you, relacquering them. You can paint, you can relacquer them. Do you know what? There is one guitar, this one here.
Yeah.
It looks, I don't know how close I can get to it, but it's looking a bit tired.
Yeah.
It's come to me like that. It came to me brand new. So I took it to work to make it look old. So it's complete reverse of what should be happening.
Yeah.
Guitar relicking is a bit of it's one of the things that people do.
All right. Okay.
Old guitars are worth more than new guitars.
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd just have a go at that one, and it bounced across the floor in the workshop a few times. Things thrown at it, acid poured on it, flamethrower, you name it.
Excellent.
And now people look at that and they really do think it's
really old.
Oh, good job. But no, I've thought about painting guitars.
Yeah.
But I can't be asked.
Hey.
I'd rather just buy one that's already painted.
Oh, but that's it, yeah. So is that obviously like your hobby then? Obviously the guitar and the band side of it.
Yeah, that's music has been part of my life since I was a kid. So.
And what sort of music is it? You with the band?
I love playing covers.
Yeah.
Rock pop.
All right. Okay.
So everything from Foo Fighters, Genesis, Dire Straits.
Excellent.
All sorts. I really enjoy it. I like listening to other guitarists and seeing if I can emulate them.
Yeah.
Do what they do.
Aye.
And the only thing that's a problem nowadays, unfortunately, is the arthritis is beginning to develop.
Yeah.
And I can see my days as a musician are finite.
Yeah.
So I'm making the most of it while I can.
Slowly getting less. Yeah, definitely.
What about you? What's your hobbies?
I do a lot of biking and stuff like that. So yeah, do a lot of like cycling and stuff. So yeah, I enjoy it.
I thought you said baking.
No. I do like cooking. So when I left school, I was actually trained as a chef, funnily enough. When I left school, I was actually a chef, but then got involved with cars and it all went from there. So got whisked away to America when I was 14. Very, very lucky, with a family that used to own a lot of property in London and things. And they had a collection of classic cars, and they had cars all over southern England because they lived in Newbury, in Berkshire, and then in Reading. And we had cars down in Frome, and they were all over Somerset. They were all over Cornwall in different barns at different people's properties. And eventually sold the property at Reading, at Winnersh in Wokingham. Sold it to a company from called Tintagel Estates, actually, who were at Tintagel in Cornwall. That was when the big boom property bottomed out and the big Black Friday happened on the stock exchange in 1990 or whenever it was, 89, 90. We just got out in time from the property in Reading, sold it to Tintagel for near on £1 million. And they literally had almost everything on a bridging loan. They obviously went bankrupt quite quickly because the stock market went pop. NatWest clawed the money back in from Tintagel Estates. They couldn't sell the property because obviously nothing was selling because it just literally went pear-shaped. I found a farm for the company up in East Yorkshire, and we went up one late night. It was pitch black in winter, couldn't see around. There was no lights on anywhere. Spoke to this guy called Mark Cayley from Cayley's Auctions and said, it's up for auction tomorrow. You've got to make a decision tonight if you want it. He said, if you say yes, he said, you're going to have to put up with some very, very angry Yorkshiremen. He said, and very angry Yorkshireman farmers. He said, and you being Southern, they'll most likely lynch you when you move up, or if you say, yes, you're going to buy it. We said, who's the owner? And he said, a guy called Charles Hewson, who owns Cherry Valley Duck Farms. He supplies all the ducks to every supermarket in the whole of England and Europe. Wow. Can we get him on the phone and have a word with him? Yeah, we can get him on the phone. Anyway, we phoned up. My boss spoke to Charles Hewson and came off the phone, did Richard, and he said, I think you better speak to Charles. I think I just bought this farm. So you're going to have to tell all these angry farmers in the morning. There's no auction tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Oh,
this was at about 8 o'clock at night. And he's like, I don't know how I'm going to tell them. They're going to have to come here. He said, I'm going to end up being lynched tomorrow when they turn up and I tell them the auction's off because the farm's been sold. So I literally bought this thing overnight. It had one of the buildings covered, I think it was 6 acres in size. One of the buildings, it was the biggest, Yeah, big. It was a big pig farm. It's the biggest pig farm in Europe. It was absolutely colossal. And we sort of moved all the cars up and started rounding all the cars up from the country and started slowly bringing them up north to Hull. I then obviously was doing all the detailing work and stuff like that, going backwards and forwards to America, learning all my trade with the leather side of it and the detailing. And it sort of all went from there, my business sort of side of it, and got involved. So I love classic cars. I mean, I got quite a passion for classic cars. It's a bit of a hobby. If I could afford them, I'd have a collection of them myself, but unfortunately I can't. But, you know, my main hobby, I think, is really cycling and walking, to be fair. I quite like it. I mean, I'm from down south from Berkshire anyway, so Cornwall and all those were all my holiday when I was a kid anyway, in Isle of Wight and, you know, Land's End. It was all where we used to go on holiday and things when I was a kid. So, you know, walking and cycling is something I think it's just my era and age. The same with yourself, you know, you were brought up to walk and cycle and, you know, just sort of different league of people rather than sat on this all day long, you know, what kids are now, you know, and they don't get outside and enjoy things. And I think it's just a different cultural and a different way of life now compared to when I was a kid and you were a kid, you know. And it's, you know, I used to have a den in you know, in the roadside, in the hedge, you know, that was my little den, and I used to keep things in there, and everybody knew that was mine. They'd never go in there, you know, and I could leave money in there. I could leave a radio in there. Nobody'd ever nick it. They knew it was mine. You know, kids nowadays, they'd be like, you did what? They have no idea, you know, and it's totally different.
It's sad, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Progress has meant things have actually got worse for children.
Yeah, I think they have. Yeah, far worse for children, yeah, than what it was when we were kids. I mean, it is sad, really, because it seems to have gone backwards rather than forwards. It's, you know, it's like with social media. It's a great thing and stuff like this is fantastic, but if it's not used in the right way, it can be very damaging again to people's mental health, you know, and it's just a shame. And that's why I sort of use, you know, the cycling and the walking as a way of getting rid of that sort of anger side of things from social media. You know, I sort of use it to go out on the road and pedal and go as fast as I possibly can, you know, and try to go faster and faster and faster and sort of release all that built up sort of energy, that sort of anger built up almost, and, you know, and enjoy a bike ride at the same time and view all the countryside.
Have you seen evidence of mental health issues in the trade specifically?
A lot of people do suffer with it. We actually, just before lockdown happened, we actually set up our own charity, a mental health charity called Tackle, which is called Tackle, short for talk and chat about life. And you know, the charity, obviously we have people on board. I'm just the trustee for the charity, you know, and it was my idea that we set it up. We plowed a lot of money into it. Just through friends that suffered mental health, and one or two of them committed suicide. And it's like, I thought, you know, we've got to do something about this. And other ones that we've helped, which unknowingly helped. And they're like, you know, you've actually saved my life. And I'm like, all I did was chat to you. And they're like, that's what I wanted. Nobody would talk to me. Nobody would listen to me. You know, I was just alone. I was lonely. I was silent. And every now and then you'd inbox me saying, hi, how you doing today? And you do not realize you actually saved my life because you were inboxing me, asking me how I was. You actually gave me a purpose to live. You know, and I'm like, I didn't realize I'd done that. And they're like, yeah, you did. And I'm like, well, I feel quite humbled that I've done that, you know. And I thought, there's got to be something in this. You've got to set up a charity and try to help people. But it's like, obviously, you're a one-man band. You're on your own. When things go wrong, you've only got yourself to talk to, you know, when you're out on the road. And we get this quite a fair bit with detailers. They're stuck in a building and they've got nobody to talk to. And when things go wrong, they're just sat there, and all that they then start thinking is this really worth it? Is this what I want in life? This isn't what I wanted. Should I really be carrying on? And then it leads on from there and there. And, you know, they become depressed with it. And especially in the vehicle detailing side of things, it's a very lonely business because most people work on their own. A lot of smart repair guys work on their own as well. And and I think, again, if you sort of spoke to people about it, and because people are quite frightened to talk about that side of it, but I think if people spoke to each other about it, I think in the smart repair side of it, you'll probably find there's a lot of people that suffer with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity on Facebook for smart repairers, which is probably good for that reason. You know, it gives them an outlet for people to talk to and share things with. Yeah, it's difficult. Something that I found is that when I was a child growing up, even as a teen, I didn't know of anybody who'd committed suicide.
No.
My daughter has seen 3 of her friends
Yeah.
Go.
It's amazing.
That is just so tragic. And for all the progress we've made,
Yeah.
we do seem to have gone backwards in some respects.
Yeah. A lot of it, a lot of it is down to social media. It's what people are expected of each other. They see things on social media and they think, I should be like that. And they know they can't ever be like that. And I think they're thinking, I can't ever be like that, so I don't want to be here.
Well, this Facebook whistleblower is saying just that, isn't it? That
yeah,
Facebook haven't done enough to
no, they haven't.
Instagram and so on to combat it, and it is sad. I think the thing is, I just have a very simple philosophy that when I come across problems, if I can fix it, then I focus my energy on fixing it.
Yes. Yeah.
If I can't fix it, then I don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's the worry when you feel defeated.
Yes. Starts to lead to other things.
Understand that, but how negative that can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I never ever let it get me down in any way.
Yeah.
Because I'm always looking for solutions.
Exactly. Yeah, it's finding the solution. It's the same with people that focus on a competitor. If you're focusing on your competitor, you're not focusing on your business. And while you're doing that, they're running away with the industry, and stopping you from ever getting a foothold in the industry. So, and people come to us all the time and they're like, oh, have you seen what so-and-so's doing? No. Why not? Well, I've been looking on my business, not what they're doing. I don't care what they're doing. There's room for me and there's room for them. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And I don't care what they're doing. And we get it with vehicle detailers. And it's like, did you know what so-and-so, your local detailer, is doing? I don't care what he's doing. I do my thing. That's what I'm interested in. I get my business working. My business is working. It's been working for 30 odd years doing the detailing side of things and, and the leather. And we're very, very happy with doing that. And it's, we don't spend an awful lot on advertising now either, because it's word of mouth, and that's what we're recognized for. It's not a lot as money. We used to spend a fortune on Google AdWords. We used to spend maybe £3,000 a week on Google AdWords. We probably don't even spend £1,000 a month now. And it's
I don't spend £20 a month on Google AdWords.
it can be very expensive.
Well, I'm fortunate, as I said earlier, about being in Cornwall. People like to deal with local companies.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that really does work to my benefit.
Yeah.
Because I've got Cornwall in the name.
Yes, exactly.
I find that a lot with the businesses down here.
Yeah.
Just so that people really do know.
Yeah, it works quite well with your Google searches as well, doesn't it? Car Doc Cornwall. So it works quite well. If someone's searching for something in Cornwall, you're the guy that's most likely going to pop up.
I've always been on the first page, very often number one.
Yeah.
To the point where now it's not something that's important to me any longer.
Yeah.
Because I've got such a good customer base anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
The repeat business is there and the referrals are there.
Yeah.
So and also things have moved on. I could never understand why people would look on Facebook if they wanted their car repaired.
Yes.
But they do.
Yeah.
I just find it baffling. I still Google for things. Maybe it's me, I'm turning into a dinosaur. I don't know. But
yeah, I still Google. It's very rare I look on Facebook for something. I'll look on there if I've seen a name on there. I'll search Facebook for that company name. But most of the time, I'll actually go to Google and type it in there because it's actually quicker.
Yeah,
type it in there. But a lot of people are using Facebook as a search engine now, which is what I thought it would become. And it's again, we've only got to look at yesterday. And here we go again yesterday. And somebody actually said this in America, and it's actually correct as this. Yesterday, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp all went down for like 6 or 7 hours. 3 of the most powerful social media platforms in the world. In my opinion, they shouldn't be allowed to own 3 because it's monopolization.
Yeah.
How much of your business do you rely on social media to get business from it? The amount of people that rely on it, the amount of people that we know now today that don't even have a website, they only have a Facebook page because they think it's the best thing ever. They are crazy. Because if someone like Elon Musk, which is one of the only things I like about, Elon's quite a great guy, but one of the things I really like about him is he wants to buy Facebook and shut it down because it's the worst thing that's ever happened in the world because it's not controlled enough, which is what we were saying just a few moments ago. It's not the mental health side of it isn't controlled enough, and Elon wants to buy it and just shut it. And I think it would be a good thing if he bought it and just shut it and got rid of it. And
Yeah.
I know it's where we get a lot of business from, but there is a lot of bad things about Facebook, which I think, unfortunately, outweigh the good things. And what Facebook was set up for originally, which was a way for friends and family to connect with each other around the world, it's now become a business tool rather than to find your friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, what they say, they wiped 7 billion off their value.
Yeah.
For that 6 hours.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Insane. But my daughter started a new business, which is hiring out these sort of mini teepee things for children.
Yeah.
Like children's parties.
All right. Yeah.
Done on Facebook.
Yep.
Right from the outset.
Yep.
And she's been doing it for 2 months, and she's hired someone to help her now.
Yeah.
And it's just rocketed away. But it's all been through Facebook.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I can't understand it. I don't know how that's working.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
And she's good at marketing herself.
Yeah.
She has done a really, really good job, but I'm just baffled at how that works.
Yeah.
Start a business on Facebook.
Well, yeah, you've only got to have another Facebook outage like you got now, and it lasts for 2 or 3 days, and it could destroy someone's business like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's how vulnerable people actually are with social media. And this is what Barry was saying. And it's like, you know, how much do you rely upon it? And it's like, I came along and said, everybody's come along here saying 20%, 30%, 20%, 10%, 40%. I'm like, do you actually really know exactly? I bet you don't. I said, because I couldn't say to you, I know exactly. I can guess at 30. But I can't tell you hand on heart that is correct, because I don't actually know. I should know. And I don't think any of you here will know exactly how much you rely on, how much business you get from Facebook. But people do, you know.
It's, for me, it's still pretty low level. I maybe get 3 inquiries a week through Facebook, through Messenger.
Yeah.
When I look at my analytics for AdWords and my website, really quite low. Yeah. You know, the number of visits to the website, very, very low.
Yeah.
The number of visits to YouTube, low.
Yeah.
But I think it is a local thing. Down here, there is definitely this. It's quite an insular place. I mean, Cornwall's trying to separate from the United Kingdom anyway. It has done for years.
Yeah.
Of its own nation of Kerno.
Yeah.
So I think maybe something to do with that. It's kind of the nature of the people down here.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's I have seen people who started a similar time to me, not been able to grow in the way that I have. Yeah. And part of it is because it's just a local thing. You know, I'm just lucky to be in a place where you get so much support from the local business, local community.
Yeah, definitely. So, it always helps. You know, it's people always seem to sort of try to spread their wings too far with their advertising. Instead of focusing on local to you, they seem to go too far afield, which then dilutes their possibilities. You know, and
for a lot of the guys that were starting, they were asking questions about how do I start, how many leaflets should I get printed, stuff like that. And I took a different approach. I never did leaflets because I know myself, if I get a leaflet in the door, there's only one place it ever goes.
It's in the bin, yeah.
And if you rely on the newspapers to distribute them for you, dead loss.
Yep.
So many of them just get dumped in waste bins.
Yeah, exactly.
What I did was I made my business card, my leaflet.
Yep.
But everything that they needed to know about what I did and where to find me was on a business card.
Yep.
Because when we started out, that's what I was handing out. Now, what do people do with business cards?
Yeah, they keep them.
Goes in the glove box.
Yeah.
Might be pinned to the fridge with a magnet.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
There's less likelihood of it being thrown in the bin.
Exactly. Yep.
And I tried to encourage people, but it was very hard to persuade people away from the old style of
leaflets. Yeah.
This doesn't work anymore.
No.
Not for a business like ours. You see, what people don't appreciate is that for a business like ours, it's not something you just use whenever you feel like it.
Yes.
You use it because something's gone wrong.
Yep.
And if you find a company, if you suddenly you've had a bumper scrape and you want to find someone to do it, are you going to really remember that leaflet you got through the door 2 years ago?
Yeah, no, very highly unlikely, isn't it?
So you go to the other method, Google,
Facebook,
apparently.
Yeah.
So all my marketing was aimed at, based around the remembering the fact that you don't use us every day.
Yes. Yeah.
The other thing that I discouraged people from doing was advertising in newspapers. Because what I said to them was, unless you can get your advert in exactly the same spot every week in the newspaper,
Yep.
and you keep paying for that for the rest of your life, you will never get a job from it.
No.
Because people do remember, strangely, we have this inbuilt ability to remember things
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
Saw that advert. Now, I seem to remember it was on the right page and it was at the top.
Yep.
And we do remember stupid things like that.
Yeah.
So you go to the newspaper, open up, and that's where you expect to find that advert.
That's it. Yep.
You've got to keep doing it forever.
Yep. Yeah, it's being repetitive with everything you do. Just keep saying the same message. You know, the same message, but in different contexts. You can say the same message, but have a million photographs, but still say the same message. And it's just getting that same message repeated all the time just to hit it home. And that's what people forget is, you know, they forget that message and they keep diluting that message. That's the problem. And that's where they go wrong.
Also, it's having a brand.
Yep.
When I started, again, I got a friend of mine who was a graphic designer. And between us, we came up with a logo for Car Doc. And just recently, somebody said, "Oh, I remember years ago seeing your van with this big yellow VW on the side of it."
Hey.
And it was an injured car. One half of it was damaged, the other half was all clean and sparkly.
Yeah.
The idea, but the point was, it was big on the side of the van.
Yeah.
It really stood out.
Hey.
And so it's on the website, it's on the Facebook page.
Yep.
I still use it.
Yeah.
Because it's that continuity.
Exactly. Yeah.
You start with something, and
you
I had a uniform when I started.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the same with our logo. You can sort of see it here. It's like 3 triangles almost. You can see, and it used to be a single pointed triangle. It was quite sentimental to our family because it was our daughter that drew it when she was about 4 or 5 years old, and we were trying to think of a logo, and she just walked into the dining room one day and said, "What about that, Dad?" and slapped it on the table. And she sort of had leather repair company like that, and in the end I'm like, yeah, that's it, but it just wants to be leather repair company the other way. And so we've evolved it now, so it's become more modern, but we've still kept the same triangle. But, you know, we sort of made that graphic device more modern, and sort of put 3 of them together to make 3 different layers of the business. So it sort of layers the different sectors of our business, so it works quite well for us. So it's made it more modern, but it's just having that modern image and stuff like that. And it's that sort of probably leads on to what I will class as our final question, really. Talking about businesses and where you started, which is actually quite a good sort of ending to the sort of interview. But one question we always ask everybody, probably a tricky one, you might find it easy, you might not. If there's one piece of information you could tell yourself now that you could have told yourself when you started that you now know, what would it be?
Ooh, that is a difficult one. I would say something that would have made my life a bit easier in the early stages, and that's to have taken more training.
Yep.
Because I learned on the job.
Yeah.
Which is a very hard way to do it. Now, I was particularly lucky that, as I mentioned earlier, the Smart Repair Forum helped me out a lot. And one of the ways they helped me was I got the numbers of some experienced guys. And they basically said, look, if you ever get in trouble, just phone me and I'll tell you what you can do.
Yeah.
And I used those numbers on more than one occasion. I probably wouldn't have had to had I had more training.
Yeah.
And it's the overconfidence thing as well. That we've all done it in Smart Repair. We've all taken on the job that's that little bit out of our league.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of us have got away with it and some of us haven't.
Yeah.
And so I would say that, yeah, to have made things easier in the earlier days and to give me more confidence in the earlier days, I think I probably would have taken more training.
Yeah.
As the years have gone by, yeah, I learn every day, you know, it's strange.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've ever qualified. I'm not really qualified for this job. I don't feel
training
like
is a good one. It's a one that few people's mentioned is training, and it's something that they've said, you know, is get as much training as you possibly can before you begin.
Yeah.
As much training as you can. And it's good, solid, sound advice. And it's something that we always say to people today. If you can still go on training courses, even if you've been in business for 10 or 15 years and you can still go on a course, go on that course, because you'll be surprised how much things have changed, where you've got stuck in your ways of doing things your way, and technology has moved on, products have moved on, and techniques have moved on. Always be prepared to go and learn, because you will always learn something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing that would be, I'd advise people, is get a mentor.
Yeah.
Someone who you can, it doesn't have to be someone in the trade either.
Yeah, yeah.
It just could be an experienced businessman.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Someone who you can actually sit down and talk things through with.
Yep.
Because we all have to make decisions on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it helps if you can share that.
Yeah.
With somebody else and get another point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a couple of
friend of mine used to be a manager at Tesco.
Yeah, yeah.
So completely unrelated business.
Yeah.
But I would talk to him about what I was doing.
Yeah.
And ask him, what do you think? You know, what?
Yep.
How would you feel if I did this or offered that service or whatever? And he'd tell me honestly.
Yep. That's what you need.
I valued that kind of advice, and I think for everyone, and it also comes back to something you mentioned, we were talking about earlier, about being alone.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Having a mentor as well
helps enormously.
Helps.
Yeah. Yeah, it does, definitely. Yeah, we have a couple of mentors, and it's always good to, you could sort of look at something and think something's a great idea, and they could say something and it's like, yeah, no, that's not such a great idea. They just say one thing and you suddenly think you've got all this wonderful thing built up in your head, and they literally just blow it out the market like that, and you think, yeah, that's no good.
Fear of rejection again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yes, fear of rejection. And it's just, they'll just say something and it's just like, you could have almost sat there and spent thousands doing something, and they just come along and say one thing and you're like your heart's just got ripped out, because they've just suddenly dawned on you what could have been an absolute massive failure for you. But you know, and that's the whole idea of having mentors. They're really good. So so Dave, what's all your social media things? How do people get you, your website, all that sort of things? How do they get hold of you? You do dents, chips, painting, leather, don't do wheels anymore, or just do the odd wheels.
Windscreens I still do occasionally, but these are just add-ons. My main business is paint and PDR. That's the main business. And the Facebook page is Car Doc Cornwall. Yep. The website is cardoc-cornwall.co.uk.
Yep.
YouTube channel is Car Doc Cornwall. Yep. You can see a theme here, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to give you a follow on Car Doc on YouTube and that. Yeah, definitely.
The YouTube channel, I think I have a grand total of about 350 subscribers from all over the world.
That's good.
But what I need to do is to change all the titles to my biggest mistake. Oh my God, what went wrong here? Because that's what really attracts people.
Yeah, definitely. Good. Yes, it's been really good. Thank you very much for coming on. Totally detailed. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's normally all about detailing, and it's something completely different. And I think a lot of people are going to find this one quite an interesting one, because it talks about all sorts of stuff to do with the business, with the marketing and everything. So it's going to be a really good one. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you.